Let's pray. Thank you, Lord, for this day and for all the blessings that we have received. I thank you for the privilege and opportunity to serve as we gather together as council members to manage the resources of the county. And I ask your hand of blessing on this meeting and help us to accomplish our work and our goals. We give thanks as our community continues to come to the aid of the unfortunate by supporting food banks, Salvation Army, Boys for Tots, and the United Way, and others. We give thanks for our military, public safety members, medical workers, and their families who sacrifice as they protect our lands and its people. As we prepare for Christmas, keep us ever mindful of the significance of the season. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hear ye, hear ye. The Elkhart County Council is now in session to hear any and all business brought before them. Thank you.
Welcome, everybody, to the December 18th, 2025 Elkhart Council meeting. I will not be chairing this meeting. I'm feeling somewhat ill, so Councilman Hess has agreed to chair the meeting. So we'll turn the agenda over to him.
Okay, thank you, Tom, and you better behave. Tom wouldn't hit him, but I might.
You're not left-handed. Oh, you are left-handed.
I am left-handed.
That was the determining factor.
That's right. That's a determining factor. So we'll call this meeting to order, and first of all, we will have the roll call.
Mr. Bielski.
Here.
Mr. Clark.
Here.
Mr. Graham.
Here.
Mr. Hess.
Here.
Second.
Here.
Mr. Stumpf.
Here.
Mr. Young.
Here. Have the roll call. Now we need the approval of the minutes from the November 20th meeting.
Move to approve.
Second. Motion by, I think, Randy?
Yep.
And seconded by Darrell. Any further discussion, amendments or changes? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Committee reports. Commissioners.
Good afternoon, Brad Rogers, County Commissioner.
Can't hear you.
This is on. Brad Rogers.
Nope.
Helps if you plug it in.
Yeah, that's right.
Good afternoon, Brad Rogers, County Commissioner. And so on behalf of the County Commissioners, I come before you today. And as you know, the commissioners and the council continue to search for ways to reduce budgets in light of Senate Enrolled Act number 1. Also, the Concord Township Assessor resigned as of December 15th, 2025. The state legislature has consistently proposed changes to township operations as a cost-saving measure. And the commissioners evaluated possible means to assist a new Concord Township assessor with streamlined operations and cost-saving measures. The commissioners coordinated with the county assessor to see if intergovernmental cooperation could achieve greater efficiencies and cost savings. That cooperation is in place and ready to move forward. The commissioners recommend 2 steps be taken by the council to achieve cost savings. 1, reduce the 2026 salary of the Concord Township assessor to the current federal minimum salary for most tax exempt positions, which is $35,568 annually. The council could choose to go lower, but this amount seems appropriate during the transition time. Second, propose a reduction and reorganization of the Concord Township assessor 2026 budget to the minimum amount needed for the county assessor team to perform the day-to-day work that would be reviewed and approved as appropriate by the Concord Township Assessor. This would allow for approximately $300,000 in savings, and it would include a reduction in force at the Concord Township Assessor Office. This budget reduction and reorganization could be an agenda item on the council's January 15th meeting. Any questions?
I love it.
So in essence, it sets up a contractual arrangement.
Contractual arrangement with the, internally with the county assessor.
And we would make that determination in January.
Right, you might, I think later on in the agenda, you can act on the salary with the salary ordinance. And
Yes, because that needs to be done before.
and
the first of
Mr.
the
Olson
year.
can explain that.
So,
Okay, any questions? Thank you.
any comments from Attorney Steve Olson?
You want to say this, Ed?
Steve Olson, County Attorney. To the extent the council is interested in pursuing the recommendations as presented by Commissioner Rogers, we will have an agenda item later on with respect to the salary ordinance amendment. But with respect to the budget reductions and reorganization, that would be something, if you have an interest, I just need to know, and we can get that added to your January agenda. Thank you.
Think you could take it by consent that we would be in agreement with having that as an agenda item. So we have, I think Commissioner Barnes here and Commissioner Wyrick. Any other comments?
Merry Christmas.
I see that you're to be congratulated for having a very nice award from the State Commissioners Association. Does somebody want to clue us in on that?
If I must. So it was a great honor this year at the Indiana County Commissioners Annual Conference that our Board of Commissioners was awarded the Commissioner Team of the Year Award. The project that was specifically cited was regarding the courthouse project and how it was a collaborative approach to managing the project with various elected officials. Most of y'all are included in that list, and actually all of y'all are. And several others, including the judges, the sheriff's office, the auditor, every office that has had participation. It was a multiple meetings over 7 years. I don't know that there was a day or a week that Jeff Taylor or any one of us commissioners did not have meetings about that project for 7 years. And so to be recognized as the team of the year is quite an honor. And I think all three of us are very grateful.
You're to be congratulated because it did take a tremendous amount of teamwork. And without that kind of teamwork within the framework of the county commissioner's office and county administrator and the bond counsel and everybody else and attorneys and everybody else, it's pretty hard to get the job done.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Yes.
I don't think that most people just realize how privileged we are in Elkhart County to have a group of commissioners that work together as a team. I don't know if it's still this way in some counties or not, but at one time, there were counties where the budget for the highway department was divided 3 ways, with each commissioner having a district and having their own set of money for that district. Now, that's really a good way to get things done for the entire county, isn't it? And so we have teamwork here. We try to make and do what's best for the entire county, regardless of where one might live. And I think it's been that way for a long time. And so congratulations. Council, reports from the council. Doug.
The only thing I'd like to say is, Tom, it's great to see you here. I know you've been under the weather, and I didn't expect to see you today, but I'm glad you're here, and I hope you're feeling better and on the mend.
Thank you.
Me too.
Yeah, me too.
Daryl?
Nope.
Steve?
Pass.
Adam?
I just want to thank our highway department. When we had some of this weather lately, I started working in St. Joe County, and I've heard how other counties' roads are sometimes. Now that I'm driving over there 3 or 4 days a week for work, we are blessed with what we have, especially on our main roads and highways. So I just want to publicly thank our highway department for that. I know they put in a lot of work, a lot of hours. But now that I'm traveling more during the winter, I'm seeing it firsthand. I really, truly appreciate all the work they put in.
Sheriff?
Yes.
So at this point, we're ready for next item on the agenda, which is council appointments. So trying to figure out just what might be the best approach to this. We have the redevelopment appointments, and I think there's, what, 6 names here with 4 slots. May, can you help us on this? Is that correct?
I believe in total you have 5 names, including a council appointment that you need to do, and then there's 2 slots available. So you have 4 candidates to pick from, and then you need a council person as well. So two to fill, 4 to choose from.
I would move to nominate Shane, hey, I say it's Blockcamp, Brian Hollowell and Daryl Reedsecker for the appointments to redevelopment.
And one more then, right? And one more?
That's it.
That's it.
That's
Okay.
it.
2+1.
I'll second that.
And just a question, again, for our attorney. The other 2, would you also have a motion entertained then following this vote? If it were to pass, that they would not be considered then, or how do you?
Steve Olson, County Attorney. I'm anticipating that Councilmember Clark's motion is considering letters 5A, 5B, 5C,
No.
Yeah.
Yes.
Please consider it. Yeah.
5E, and, or sorry, 5F and 5G simultaneously. And of those 5 candidates, moving that the 3 be appointed be 5A, Shane Blockcamp, 5C, Brian Holloway, and 5F, Daryl Reedsecker, with the other 2 not being appointed.
Correct.
That would be a fine way of handling it.
Okay, and you got a motion, and did we have a second?
Yes.
Yeah, Doug seconded it. So, any comment on that from the general public? Seeing none, okay.
Pam Kaiser, Middlebury. I just want to mention that I really liked the discussion during the finance meetings where we had a better understanding of where these people were coming from, because these boards are important boards. And to me, it's unfortunate that there's no longer a finance meeting, and therefore there is no discussion on what the thoughts were in the selection of these people. And to me, it takes away the ability for the public to be engaged in or have an understanding of what discussion has happened to make these decisions. This board is very important. They make millions of dollars of decisions every year. And for that reason, I'm up here today to just point this out as let's continue to get back to the discussion, because we were told that that discussion would happen here since there was no longer a finance meeting. Thank you.
Any other? Further discussion by the board? Comments? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So,
I would also make a motion on the only 2 applicants we have for the Property Tax Assessment Board of Appeals. Yeah, they're the same, right? And then so that would be considering items 5D and E. I would move that both of them be reappointed for their 2 and 1 year terms, it looks like, Mike Settles and Jerry Weaver.
Second.
A motion by Steve, second by Adam. Again, just further information on this. The Board of Appeals is a board that has to be balanced politically. So that has to be taken into consideration, as well as I believe they have to be a level 3. Is that correct? One level 3. So I know they're qualifying certain level of things that plug into that. So these fit that, and they're current board members. Yeah. Questions by the general public? Seeing none, further discussion by the board. Seeing none, I'll call for the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We'll now move on to the additional appropriations portion, which amounts to one item and then several transfer requests, which we need to vote on. I will read a statement. We are now moving into additional appropriation requests. Each request will be handled separately by the board, and I will give the public and council members, as part of the public hearing process, an opportunity to comment after presentation of the appropriation request. When no further comments are made on the specific request, the public hearing will be deemed closed and the council will vote on the specific request.
Can we censure Doug Graham? How does that work? I don't know what our rules are. Is that a thing? Do we have that?
Not down there?
Yes.
You know, he's mad at himself.
Maybe we should develop an ordinance.
Yeah, now I'm checking mine before I go somewhere here.
So after the requests, I will ask for questions from the council, comments from the public, further comments from the council, and then we'll have our vote. So auditor will read the appropriation request.
Just for the record, we don't typically do additional appropriations in
Right.
December because of the timing of our last check run, and the state has to approve these as well. So this one was an emergency, and so we have the Buildings and Grounds Department requesting $985,000 from the general fund.
So I'm assuming this is related to the jail. Is that correct?
Yeah, good afternoon, Jeff Taylor, County Administrator, and Bob Barnes, County Commissioner. Joe Lightman couldn't be here this evening, this afternoon, so the two of us are handling it. But just to give you a little bit of a background, kind of based on your question there, both boilers started acting up at the jail. One went down, which there's two, which left one operational. And at that time, on June 10th, the county commissioners called an emergency meeting to vote on the proposal to get both boilers serviced. And at the time, one boiler was still working, but it was on its last leg, and everybody out there was doing everything they could to keep it. The bearings were bad, and it was rattling really bad. And I don't know, what's the technical term? You're a boiler guy.
Well, the blowers, the controller, the blowers on the ignition side, they was out of balance. And I fielded a couple of phone calls from the sheriff. The inmates didn't have hot water. So we rallied the troops to get one boiler running. And then we had to start finding a rental boiler because we got the one boiler running for the interim until we had the rental boiler up in play. And putting a rental boiler up in play, they're high pressure steam, so that's all welded pipe, and it takes some time. It's all custom fit stuff. So there was some extreme costs, but there was some really good teamwork and effort with the Buildings and Grounds team.
to get this up and going. So I'll answer any questions you guys have.
I remember this. We had lots of discussions about it. It came before us. We told you to bring it back, put the full amount in. This is now the first or second time we've heard about it. So
Okay.
I have no questions with that. With that, I'll move to approve. Other people can ask the questions as they have.
Well, I just make a comment, Bob. Thanks a lot for stepping in because it's certainly in your wheelhouse. And I think one of the things we uncovered, if I recall correctly, was we were not performing the routine maintenance and servicing of the boiler as should have been done, I think was part of what was said. And I believe you got procedures in place and it's set up so where we're gonna have no surprises, let's put it that way. So we've had quite a few catastrophic failures in the boiler house in the utility of the jail. And with extensive conversations with the sheriff and past practices, we have changed and set in place SOPs. And there is a preventative maintenance program that we're going to start having going into this next year. We're going to have, it'll be slated, budgeted preventative maintenance and predictive maintenance repairs going forward. And the buildings and grounds, we have a really good team assembled right now, and we have a really good manager. So we are taking and offering training wherever they're needed, so we can keep that train just rolling. So I guess one further question that just came to me: we have two boilers there, correct? Did this replace both of them or just one of them? We replaced both. Oh, so they're both brand new. Okay. The boilers are in great shape. They're just running the methane gas through them. That's very corrosive. So that created some excess wear and tear in that process. But now they're properly sized because the boiler controls that we put in there are 6,000. I believe they're 600,000 BTU. They were at 800,000 BTU. They was oversized. So now instead of running at loaded and unloaded at more frequent times, it's going to stay loaded for a longer period of time. Won't cycle as often. Well, it's a lot more effective and efficient that way too.
Good. These are natural gas now then, or?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It's impressive. I'll give you guys a tour of the place. They've done a really good job over there. I mean, it's like it's not as clean as a Navy ship engine, but it's going to get there. So.
Well, the sheriff's happy.
Okay.
He is on that topic.
Thank you for your explanation. Further questions?
I second the
Comments?
motion.
Okay, we got motion from Steve, second from Daryl. Any questions from or comments from the public? Seeing none, further questions from the council? Probably letting the prisoners out during the day to cut wood is not a good idea, is it?
Oh, I don't think so. Might get fun.
We may need more staff.
Yeah.
You may need more staff. Hearing no further comments or questions, consider the appropriation. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Transfers requesting council action. There are 3 of these. First one is from the coroner, who I see is here this evening. Transferring money from autopsies to motor vehicle. Second one is in the edit fund, highway department, transferring from group insurance to professional services. And the third one from infraction deferral in the prosecuting attorney's office from a number of different items to group insurance. So questions from anybody on the council? Any questions from the public?
Dave, I do have a question.
Yes.
We lease a number of vehicles for different department heads. I was just wondering if this vehicle is for the coroner has gone through that process to see whether it would be advantageous to lease it or just purchase it? I don't know who can answer
Well, the
that.
coroner's here. We can ask him.
Yeah.
You might as well walk up there.
That's right.
He showed up. Let him speak.
That's what you get for sitting in the back row.
Yeah, exactly.
We saw
Mervyn Miller County Coroner. The two vans we had were purchased. They weren't leased. I did talk with Commissioner Rogers and Jeff about like replacing them. And so the one transmission went down, so we had to hurry up and get one. So we purchased that one. And then this other one is to replace the current van whose transmission is going out also. So as far as I know, we're purchasing. We talked about leasing, but when this came up, we went to purchasing. So that's,
And that, I guess this is
Kinda
more
where
of a
we're at.
question probably for the commissioners. These come off a state bid. Usually a state bid's pretty beneficial on some of these kind of things.
Jeff Taylor, County Administrator. I've been working with Merv on this. He found a local dealer with a unit available, and so we're going to keep business locally. The issue with the state bid and the issue with Enterprise is not that they can't produce, is that it's going to take, I don't know how long on a state bid. We've been having some problems with getting vehicles through the state bid only because probably a similar situation to Enterprise. If we order it from Enterprise, it may or may not show up in June or July. We've ran into this with the Parks Department. The problem is not Enterprise. The problem is Enterprise puts an order in and they will tell you the manufacturers will only manufacture so many vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the order banks are closed, then we get word a month or so later that I'm sorry, but we can't produce the vehicle. So the Parks has been waiting on a vehicle for over a year, and we're just going to buy a vehicle and be done with it.
Yeah.
I do want to emphasize the Enterprise vehicle lease program has worked very well, continues to work very well, advantageous financially, but it's almost, you have to really plan in advance for a new vehicle. The replacement vehicles come in a lot easier because those are forecasted. So we have, I don't know, 6 or 8 forecasted for next year. Those are ordered. They'll be here. We'll flip them. They take the old ones, sell them. And what you're doing essentially is you're buying at wholesale or government rate and selling them retail used. So that's, I don't want Merv to be in a position that he was in earlier where he had a, what, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 transmission repair pending.
$5,000.
And I said, don't fix it because how old of a van was that?
It was a 2017 with 130,000 on it already.
And I said, we'll get you a different vehicle. So
My question is, I wanted to make sure that you've gone through that process and reasonable thought had gone into it. I don't have a problem with that. I just,
And I appreciate you asking that question because there's ways that we can deal with purchasing vehicles and getting a good rate. And Merv has been working very closely with us.
Very good. Sounds like you did your homework.
The vehicle's actually hopefully projected to come in at 40,000, but I did extra in case, because they don't know for sure until it's being built the first week of January. So that's why it's at 48. Once that's paid and the title and all that stuff's done, then I'll come back for a reduction in that line and give the rest back to the general fund.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I'll move to approve 7B, C, and D.
Second.
Motion by Doug, second by Steve. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Transfers are approved. The transfers not requiring council action are available for public inspection in the auditor's office. So moving on to item number 9, consideration of the interest rate committee, the recommendation for the major moves loan. And I think, Jeff, are you handling that? We had a letter from you that the committee had met And your recommendation was to hold things at the present.
Yes, we met, I don't know, probably 2 months ago, and I apologize for you just getting the letter of late. But one of the things we wanted to do is wait and see what kind of further interest rate reductions took place after our initial meeting. And we circled back via email, and we all are of the same mindset that it should be held at the same rate despite interest rates going down. If they continue to go down, we could reevaluate it in the June meeting next year. The recommendation is pretty much based on a few items that we consider, and there's probably more that we're not considering, but the major ones that we do consider are if a local government entity was to go get a loan from a bank for a project or a loan through bonding, and we've just been, all of us have been through the bonding, and boy, what a exercise that is, and a cost that it is to a local government entity to go through that process. And when you consider that cost and the ease of coming to county council and county commissioners and saying, you know, we need to borrow $3 million, Steve writes up an agreement, you approve it at the next meeting, boom, you're done. Versus all of the hassle that go for bonding. We don't need to be cheaper than we are now.
Well, and your current rate is what, 5.25?
5.2.
5.2.
Yes.
And, you know, I'm guessing if any of these entities had to just go to a local bank, you're probably what, 3 points under that?
Right now, for commercial real estate, we're quoting between 6 and 6.25.
So we're still a bargain.
We're still under.
Yeah.
And no fees, no red tape.
Nope. And, you know, there's a cost. The reality is there's a cost to going through the hassle of readjusting these rates and getting legal to produce new agreements and getting them signed and all of that. So with all that said, one more thing that we consider, what are we receiving at Lake City Bank versus, and I think do you remember what the latest, is Cindy here by chance? I think we were at like 4.9 or 4.7, something like that. So this is slightly more than that, than what we're getting at the bank. And with all of those into consideration, and I tell you all this to say we just don't sit around and flip a coin. We give it some thought and banter, and the recommendation is don't change it.
Well, at the end of the day, is it in this fund or this fund?
Right.
Well, and the other thing worth mentioning for the sake of the public is, I believe any interest we get over, I think it's 3.5%.
Everything above 1.9.
Everything above 1.9 goes back to our roads, to do roads. So it still comes back to us no matter what rate we charge.
Yeah.
But
I think one of the smartest things this council ever did, and this goes back to Dave in 2005 or 6, whatever that date is on the check behind you there. 06. Came up with this idea of a growth factor in there of 1.9%. Why 1.9? I don't know. You'll have to ask him. But
the long story.
Yeah.
Two words: linear regression.
Okay. All right. I'll go look that up tonight. We have that fund that continues to grow, and there for a long time, it didn't grow because the money in the bank was not growing at all. I remember one of the treasurers long ago, I think it was Larry Ernst, or somebody said you ought to buy postage stamps because there's more increase in value in those than there is in this major moves fund. So now it's a lot more because of the interest rate. And like you said, Doug, anything above that 1.9 rolls over to highway maintenance.
So we probably need to act on this, if I remember right. So I'd entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Okay.
And the motion is to keep the interest rates at the current level.
Follow the group's recommendations.
So Adam, Darrell. Any further discussion on this? Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is our attorney Steve Olson, who has 4 different ordinances for us to consider.
Three.
2, 3, 4.
Okay, yeah.
Good afternoon, Council. Steve Olson, County Attorney. First item that is under the other business is consideration and approval of ordinance CC 2025-26. This is an ordinance adopting amendments to the Elkhart County Government Personnel Policy and Standard Procedures Manual. I go through at a high level so that the members of the public and press know what we're doing on this changes. First, I'll note in a group, policy 1.01, 3.06, 3.13, 4.09 have all been amended for the sole purpose of addressing the handbook being discontinued and replaced by the manual. We're keeping everything together as one single manual instead of having 2 units for reference points. Policy 2.01 is a clarification with respect to independent contractors versus employees, recognizing the status of the law. Policy 3.14 has a minor change as the county does not send a questionnaire with the last paycheck anymore, as the last pay is now direct deposited. So we want to make sure that the policy references what's actually being happening under the current county standards. Section 4.05 is a change to comply with updates in Indiana law. This is with respect to jury time and election day payroll workers. Policy 4.13 was added to comply with Indiana law as well. This is with respect to school-related conference leave, the ability for individuals to ask for leave to go to their school-related conferences. Policy 5.01, 5.02, and 5.03 have all been adjusted for references to the CCPC. As you recall, right now, we're not utilizing the CCPC, so that made some changes in there to recognize that. And policy 5.04 has changes regarding lunch break and approvals of time cards. With that, those are the changes that are within the new amendment that's before you today for approval.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Clark, seconded by Reesinger. Further discussion or questions? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
The next agenda item before you is consideration and approval of ordinance CC 2025-27. This is an ordinance amending the 2026 Elkhart County Salary Ordinance. This amendment is specific to what was presented to you before by Commissioner Rogers. I'll go through what was requested so the County Council knows exactly what changes are being proposed, and then action can be taken. This amendment is to amend the 2026 Elkhart County Salary Ordinance as follows. We will be amending Exhibit I, which is the Elkhart County elected officials and Elkhart County Council members, by amending the salary column for the Concord Township Assessor, which is a level 3, from $73,051 to $35,568. The second change is to amend Exhibit A, which is the pay schedule job category SO, special occupations, specifically the salary line for the Concord Assessor Chief Deputy, by deleting what currently exists, which is 75% of the elected official's salary, and replacing it with 75% of the elected Concord Township Assessor salary for calendar year 2025 through January 15, 2026. And for any time worked on and after January 16, 2026, it will be 75% of the elected Concord Township salary for calendar year 2026. I'll explain that briefly for members of the public and council to understand, as I know that was a mouthful. Recognizing that there are changes that may be proposed in the January 15th meeting. What we're doing here is to ensure that the chief deputy is able to maintain their current salary up until you can make decisions with respect to the budget for that department. So this will ensure that they receive the same salary that is currently in the budget and identified for that individual all the way through January 15, 2026, and then recognizes that that would change at a threshold of 75% of the new $35,568 budget starting in January 16, 2026. Everything else with respect to the ordinance that exists will remain in effect. This recognizes those changes based upon the time periods that they are. Right now, we do not have somebody serving as the Concord Township Assessor, and so there is nobody needing that salary as of this time, but the change will take effect on January 1, 2026. Recognizing that if somebody was put in place before that time, they would receive what's currently in effect for 2025 and then would be modified to that $35,568 starting on January 1, 2026. With that, the ordinance is ready for your consideration.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Clark, seconded by Randy. Any further discussion or questions? Either from the council or from the general public? Hearing none or seeing none, I'll call for the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
The next agenda item that is on the agenda is consideration and approval of ordinance CC 2025-28, an ordinance amending and restating the Elkhart County Local Major Moves Construction Fund ordinance. Based upon further review of this ordinance, there are a couple additional items that I would like to discuss with the commissioners and review with them prior to it coming before council. So I'm going to ask that it be tabled until the January meeting.
Motion to table.
Second.
Motion by Reed Sicker, seconded by Clark. What are those general areas? I'm not looking for a lot of detail, but
The concept is how to deal with interest rate changes and if you have any
okay.
modifications over periods of time if there's non-payment.
Yeah, okay. Kind of thing we went through a little bit ago.
Yep.
Yeah.
But we want to make sure that we address what we're dealing with if there's ever a non-payment issue.
And just for information, I know at one point in the discussion and setting up this whole thing, there was some discussion about tying it to an established rate, like a Fed fund rate or something like that. So we wouldn't have to look at that or act on it, but it would automatically change. So those are some of the things you might kick around.
Understood.
Yep. So we need to act on that. Any discussion or questions by the council? Public, hearing none, seeing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. We are now at the point of the audience items. I see Pam Kaiser has signed in, so she can approach the microphone and entertain her discussion.
Pam Kaiser, Middlebury. I'm really here before you today to give you an update. Last month, the Middlebury Library Board voted to give all of their employees a 6% increase. Once again, this is the 5th year in a row. Actually, one year they actually made it 8, but this year it's another 6. And I know I've been listening to various meetings, and many of the employees of the various entities, municipalities are not getting that kind of an increase. But I want to, what I did was I wanted to look to see what else is happening in Indiana to find out how we can compare, how does this compare? Because with this increase, our library director will be making $111,000 next year. So I went to govsalaries.com, and it said that the average salary for library directors in Indiana is $77,410 a year. Directors are usually between $43,000 to $89,000. This is grossly out of proportion with the rest of the state. And, that concerns me. I know you have nothing to do with their money, but you do have a very important role, and that is the selection of your board appointments. And you have one coming up in June. So I hope you will take that into consideration. But I want to go a little bit further than that. I actually took time to look at the salaries for all of the libraries in the county. Now, we have the executive director who oversees all of Elkhart libraries, and there are 5 of them. She makes $110,000, or did in 2024. The next library, as far as salary, from what we can see in 2024 on Gateway, was Middlebury. Middlebury is a small community, and this seems very, very out of alignment. So again, I appreciate you as you look forward to June and your appointments there, that you will really consider this going forward. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comments. That's the only one that signed in.
Can I make a comment towards
Yes.
that? Whenever we finally have the clarity to what the SE1 does and doesn't do to the different departments, those people will probably be reaching out to us to help supplement their budgets. And believe me, I, for one, am going to go through with a microscope to look at them and would point out things like that. But that's the only comment I'd like to make about it.
Entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Clark, Reetsiger, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
You might have to also get a sign.
Thank you, David.